everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. A lot of books. Right. It's August for me right now. Anyway, those who have been here before will know that I actually finally started the complete Chronicles of Narnia this Vlogmas, and I have been wanting to read these books for a very long time, since I started working at a theatre where our Christmas production was The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and we sold all of the books as part of merch. And since then I was just like, oh, I've got that really big book at home, I'd like to read that at some point. 5 years later, how many Christmases have I been through since that Christmas show? So, it was that one. We've had The Wizard of Oz, we've had Christmas Carol twice. How many things did I just hold up? I was not paying attention. But yeah, it's been like 4 or 5 years. So this is the version I've got, The Complete Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, illustrated by Pauline Baynes. And the illustrations in these books are absolutely beautiful. And today's book is The Horse and His Boy. So you can tell which book because they're all kind of colour coordinated. Like The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is pink, The Horse and His Boy is green. This one is dedicated to David and Douglas Gresham. I have no idea who those people are, to C.S. Lewis, but that is who the dedication is to. And at the beginning of this one we get a map. This is actually handy to know if I ever decide to do a book tag where it asks me if I own a book with a map in it, because this book has several maps in it. In this book they travel to Narnia, and so you see the desert that they travel across. Just let me like this. Yes, so in this book you're first introduced to Shasta. He has lived the majority of his life that he remembers in the southern part of Calaman. Can you see Calaman here? Can't see it on the map. It's not on the map. But Calaman, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. It's spelled C-A-L-O-R-M-E-N. So you start off by meeting a young boy called Shasta who has lived in Calaman for the majority of his life. It's all he remembers, and he lives with a fisherman who he believes is his father, who is quite abusive and basically just treats him as a slave. You later find out that Ashish, the fisherman, is not Shasta's father, and you find this out when Shasta overhears a conversation between his dad and a nobleman, where the nobleman is basically negotiating to buy Shasta as a slave. And this is the point where Shasta is just like, oh, thank God Ashish isn't my dad. I'd love to get away from this. And so he goes and waits in the stable basically for the nobleman to come and take him off to a new home. And it is in there that Shasta meets the nobleman's horse, which is a talking horse, originally from Narnia, who he nicknames Bree. Bree is not the full name. The name is Bree Hinny Brinny Hoo-hee-ha. You can tell why I had to revert back to the source material to get that out. But yes, that's the point where Shasta says, I can't say that constantly, can I just call you Bree? At which point the horse and the boy of the title have met and go off on their adventures. Because Bree the talking horse basically tells Shasta that both of them are going to have a better life in Narnia, where Bree is originally from, and so they technically escape. Yeah, and then you go off on this adventure of Shasta and Bree going across the desert to Narnia, who they meet across the way. And yeah, I'll admit, when I first started reading it, it felt a bit of a slow start. And it's not even that long. It says the first edition on here is 199 pages. On the journey, Shasta and Bree meet another pair of runaways, a girl who has run away with her talking horse, Hwin. H-W-I-N. Hwin. This makes me think of some of the stuff I've been doing with my singing teacher, where we are really working on sounds, including the letter W, like waving through a window, leaning into the W sound. Yeah, Aravis is running away because she's been forced to marry somebody who she doesn't want to marry, and so she is escaping. So their stories kind of mirror each other in a way, because obviously Shasta is running away from a potential new life with a nobleman to become his slave, and Aravis is running away from a potential new life with a husband. So you find that they actually have a bit of common ground. That is when he I just can't sit normally on a chair. But yes, so they run away, and while they're running away, there's a point when Shasta is mistaken for a prince. A lot happens in this book for what is actually not that long a book. Like, the Narnia books aren't actually that long, and yet they pack in so much. But yeah, so on the way they travel to a place called Tashbaan. There's a double A in there, which is, there's a lot of words in here, but it's just like, I'm just going to make up how that is pronounced, kind of like how I was when I read the Harry Potter books for the first time, which I do plan on rereading at some point, just because I do have them, and it would be interesting to read them again as an adult. When they're in Tashbaan, a king and queen of Narnia are travelling through, and it's Susan, and Susan thinks that Shasta is a young prince called Corin. And so they take Corin off the street and take him back to where they are staying at that point. And Shasta overhears a lot of information while in the castle, which makes them realise that they really, really do need to go to Archenland to kind of save some things. Like, how deep am I going to go into this explanation? So this is the point where Aravis and Shasta are split up, and before Shasta got taken off the street by Queen Susan, because she thinks that Shasta is Corin, Prince Corin, they had made plans, Shasta, Aravis and the horses had made plans to meet each other kind of beyond the tombs. And yeah, so when they're split up, you actually get both sides of the story. So you find out what happened to Shasta while he was being mistaken for Corin, and you also then go into what happened to Aravis on the other side of it. So I've said before in regards to the other books that it really does feel like somebody telling you a story. They're really, really great for like telling as like a fairy tale. It feels like you are being narrated the story from the book. But yeah, it was just, despite originally feeling a little bit tired when I first started the book and feeling like that first couple of chapters just felt a little bit slow, once it really kind of started to delve into the story, it felt like it was going really, really quickly. And as I said, it feels like there's a lot happening because it's just one thing after another. You go from Shasta at the start is home with the fisherman, and then you get Bree the talking horse, and then you meet Aravis and Hwyn, and then they're in Tashbaan, and then they're kind of on the way to Archenland, which is south of Narnia, and then you've got the travel on the desert to what is it's just constantly something happening. So I definitely say it's a book that once you're into the story you won't get bored, but the beginning of the book definitely feels more like a bedtime story. But it does speed up, it does get better. And when you do find out why Shasta and Cor look so alike, it was just like, oh, I should have seen that coming. I'm not going to say it, but I imagine a lot of people out there might have an idea. It's one of the things where the first thing you think of is like, oh, maybe it's this. Oh, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, the fact that you do have this story happening while the kids from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe are in Narnia and are ruling as kings and queens in Narnia. It's nice to have that reminder of the previous book within this story, especially because throughout the book there are references to lions, and through it you're there thinking, is that going to end up being who we think it is? It's kind of presented as like multiple lions or a cat. So when you find out that Aslan does have a presence throughout the book, it is quite a satisfying moment when you're just like, oh yeah. It's a really, really nice book. It's a really nice story. As I said, the beginning did make me feel a little bit sleepy, but I think it's got a really good message in there ultimately, and I like how the baddie of the story I love how they kind of get their comeuppance. I thought it was the irony of it, really. I'm not going to go too much into that bit because I think that's something that you can find out for yourself, but I did find it quite funny how the baddie of the story is ultimately presented as a teenager or a toddler that doesn't get their own way. They're just like going and everybody else just laughing. That's literally a moment towards the end of the book where the baddie is there going, and everybody else is just laughing at him. And it just makes you realise that when you do have those tantrums, you do just look like a toddler having a tantrum, and it's not necessary. It's not necessary. Yeah, I really, really want to watch the movies now, actually. I don't think I ever watched the remake movie all the way through. And it says on the Wikipedia page that they have adapted Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian and the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I'm assuming that's mainly because of the concentration on the Pemberley kids. I thought there was more movies. I don't know why, but apparently they have got the option to make The Horse and the Boy in the future. When was The Voyage of the Dawn Treader? It was 2010. In the film series, it was literally just the 3 movies. I think this would be a really, really nice movie, and it could be really funny because the book does have some amazing comedy moments in it, especially in regards to like the tantrum at the end and people laughing at him, and it's got a lot of like ebb and flow to it to keep you going. I just do think that first little section just needs to be sped up slightly, because I don't know if it's just that I was tired, but I just found myself reading it and going it just seemed to make me nod off for some bizarre reason, but yeah. It is a good book. It is a good book. And once I got into it, I really wanted to know what happened next. But yeah, so that is The Horse and His Boy. The pictures, again, are gorgeous. I love the fact that this version has just so many beautiful pictures in it. That is a testament to the person who does the drawings. Here, you can see when he was being chased by lions. I would you later find out that maybe there's only one lion. Look at Chronicles of Narnia, C.S. Lewis, The Horse and His Boy. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for the next video. And yeah, love you. Bye. Yeah, that is right. So because it's before the Silver Chair, which is the next one. God, the wording of that confused me. Edit that out, Debs. Edit everything I just said about getting confused by the Wikipedia page out of this video.